Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Corporate Finance online classes. This is Dr. Mahesh M. Manjeri, Assistant Professor from Department of Management Studies, SDM College of Engineering and Technology, Dharwad. Okay, so dear students, I hope you can recall that from yesterday class we started understanding evaluation techniques. Okay, when I say evaluation techniques, techniques that are used in evaluating long-term investment projects or techniques that are used in evaluating capital projects. Okay, so yesterday we learned about ARR, accounting rate of return or average rate of return. What is it? Then how to calculate? Then what is the accept reject rule? We also solved an example to understand. Then next we went ahead with the payback period. So we understood what is payback period. We solved a small numerical on a payback period of annuity. Okay, so we'll continue from there. Okay, so students, I hope we can see the PDF file.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so the evaluation techniques are broadly classified into traditional techniques. These techniques do not take into account the concept of time value of money. It means they don't convert the future stream of cash flows into their present value. Hence, not used now, but still for learning purpose, they are there in the syllabus. Then time adjusted techniques take into account the concept of time value of money. Therefore, they are also called as discounted cash flow techniques. So yesterday we learned about average rate of return and we also learned about payback period of annuity. Okay, so I'll just continue from there. Okay, so payback period of annuity. Yesterday we discussed, it was quite simple and easy to understand. Okay, but in practice, investment projects or capital projects do not give equal annual returns, equal annual returns. The returns or benefits or cash streams received every year usually differ, right? So we have considered them in case study 1, case study 2, case study 3, if you can recall. Okay, except in case 3. In case 3, the cash stream or the cash inflow each year was same. So we considered the present value of annuity method. Whereas in case 1 and case 2, each year the stream of cash inflows were different. Okay, so now we are going to consider the payback period for mixed stream of cash inflows. Mixed stream of cash inflows. Okay, so where each year the amount received is different. For example, you can see here 14,000, 16,000, 18,000, 20,000 and 25,000. Okay, so each year the amount received is different. We call it as mixed stream of cash inflows. So how to calculate payback period in case of mixed stream of cash inflows, we are going to learn today. So we already understood what is the payback period. Payback period is the year in which the initial investment will be recovered by the company. Okay. So in case of mixed stream of cash inflows as the one below, in such a situation, payback period is calculated by cumulating cash flows till the time when cumulative cash flows become equal to the original investment outlay. For example, 14,000 plus 16,000. Okay, that is 30,000. 30,000 plus 18,000, 48,000. So we go on accumulating the cash inflows till they become equal to the original investment outlay. That is how we are going to find out the payback period of or for mixed stream of cash inflows. Okay, but yeah, there is small difference how we do it. There is a technique slightly different. We are going to consider it. So 3 to 4 times I told you, if you can recall, calculation numericals of the remaining techniques. For most of them, the data is used from the first example that we considered for average rate of return. Example 9.6. I hope you should recall. Okay. So most of the information from example 9.6 is used for solving numericals for remaining evaluation techniques. Wherever there is some additional information that is provided. For example, in calculation of payback period for mixed stream of cash inflows, the same example is considered, but they have changed the cash streams. They are given new cash streams for machine A and machine B. As you can see here. Okay, yeah. The cash streams here were for machine A 3,375, 5,375, 7,375, and so on. Okay, but whereas in calculation of a payback period for mixed stream of cash inflows, new cash streams are given 14,000, 16,000, 18,000, and so on. Okay, so this is a case of mixed stream of cash flows where each year the amount received is different, and we are going to find out the payback period in this case. So these are years 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So life of the machine A and machine B is 5 years, which is same from year 1. From example 9.6. Cash inflows for machine A 14,000 for year 1, second year 16,000, third year 18,000, fourth year 20,000, and fifth year 25,000. Okay, this fifth year cash inflows after taxes in year 5 includes 3,000 rupee salvage value. Same information from example 9.6. Cash streams for or cash inflows for machine B from cash inflows from machine B are year 1 22,000, year 2 20,000, year 3 18,000, year 4 16,000, and year 5 17,000. So the 17,000 in year 5 includes 3,000 rupee salvage value. Okay, now pay attention. It's not very difficult, but if you distract or if you deviate, okay, it will become difficult for you to understand. Otherwise, it's very simple. So what we say, in case of mixed stream of cash flows, the payback period is calculated by accumulating cash flows till the time when accumulated cash flows become equal to the original investment outlay. So let us begin this work out these columns. Cumulative cash flow after taxes for machine A. Okay, accumulation. What is accumulation or cumulative? Please pay attention. So year 1, it remains as it is, 14,000. Second year, then you add 14,000 plus 16,000 is equal to 30,000. Okay, then 30,000 plus 18,000, 48,000. 48,000 plus 20,000, 68,000. 68,000 plus 25,000, 93,000. So these are cumulative cash flows after taxes for machine A. So I hope it was simple. Those who did not understood, I'll repeat it for machine B. So cumulative cash flows after taxes, how we obtain them? So for machine B, year 1, it is 22,000. So we write it as it is 22,000. Year 2, the cumulative will be 22,000 plus 20,000 is equal to 42,000. 42,000 plus 18,000, 60,000. 60,000 plus 16,000, 76,000. 76,000 plus 17,000 equals to 93,000. So okay, the CF18, cumulative CF18 year 5. So cumulative CF18 or how to accumulate. You understood any doubts here? How I prepared the last two columns?
No, sir.
Yeah, Keshav says no doubts. Anybody else? Okay, so if you are paying attention, yeah, thank you. If you are paying attention, it's simple one. Okay, then machine A payback period. Okay, we are going to find out. See, look at the process, look at the procedure. Simple, but you have to pay attention. Okay, payback period of machine A. The initial investment of 56,125 rupees. Okay, cost of the machine. This data is taken from example 9.6. You should remember. The initial investment of 56, the cost of machine A is 56,125. Cost of machine B is also 56,125. Data from example 9.6. So the initial investment of 56,125 rupees on machine A will be recovered between third and fourth year. Okay. So look at this cumulative table. Okay. So machine A cost is 56,125 rupees. So between which two rows it lies? 56,125 rupees between 48,000 rupees and 68,000 rupees. Okay. So what are the corresponding years? Third year and fourth year. It means the payback period of machine A lies between year 3 and year 4. Means it is approximately 3 years and few months, or fraction of fourth year. So if you understood till here, okay, for our understanding, we'll put a mark. Okay. So as you can see here, against this cumulative 48,000 in third year row, I have written A, and some part of it is also recovered in fourth year. Okay. So I have written again 68,000 in year 4 row A. So this is for our understanding. Then what you can understand, cost of the machine is 56,125 rupees. So out of 56,125 rupees, a sum of 48,000 is recovered by the end of third year. Is it correct? Out of 56,125 rupees, 48,000 rupees is recovered at the end of third year. Remaining balance is recovered in fourth year. Any doubts still here?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, good.
No, sir.
Good. Then what is the balance amount? 56,000 minus 48,000. What is the balance amount?
8,000.
Very good. The balance of 8,125 will be recovered in fourth year. The balance of 8,125 will be recovered in fourth year. And we need to know the CFAT in year 4. Okay, the CFAT in year 4, cash flows after taxes in year 4 are 20,000 rupees.
20,000.
Here for machine A, the cash flows after taxes in year 4 are 20,000. Okay, here I forgot to underline. You should underline this while solving the numerical. You can underline, it's a good practice. Now we are going to find out the payback fraction. Okay, means 8,125 rupees will be recovered in which fraction of fourth year, or in how many months in fourth year. So we call that as payback fraction. So how can we find out payback fraction? Divide the balance amount 8,125 by CFAT of year 4, which is 20,000. So 8,125 divided by 20,000 is equal to 0.406 is the payback fraction. Simply add this payback fraction to 3 years. And what you get is payback period of machine A. How we do that? So payback period of machine A is equal to 3 years, as 48,000 is recovered by the end of third year. Okay. So 3 years plus 0.406 fraction is equal to 3.406 years. Okay. And remember, if you do not write years, you will lose 1 mark. It means you have not understood anything. Simply you have solved the problem like a BCom or BBA student. So payback period of machine A is 3.406 years. So dear students, please understand that this fraction of 0.406 0.406 can also be calculated in months, actually. Can also be calculated in months. 3 years and how many months exactly? Okay, but that would require another calculation of half a page to 1 page. Okay, so and it is not required also, and it is also not provided in the textbook. Okay, I got it solved by some other finance professor. It is not required at the time being. So this much is enough for us to understand. Okay, so the payback period for machine A is 3.406 years. Any doubt so far? Machine A, payback period. Any doubts? Okay, so
No, sir.
So now good, thank you. So now understand payback period of machine A is 3.406 years. When I say this, what is the meaning of this? What does it mean? When I say payback period of machine A is 3.406 years, what does it mean? How you put it in other sentence or other words? Is anyone who can attempt? A coffee for the student, because it's not that complicated, huh? Like the previous. Yes.
Question, sir.
Question is, when I say payback period of machine A is 3.406 years, what does it mean? How you put it in other words?
So it will require 3.406 years to repayment the initial investment.
Very good, Shiva Kumar. Yeah, please give a big round of applause to Shiva Kumar. Do not hesitate. Okay. Yeah, so Shiva Kumar qualifies for coffee at Fresh and Honest once the college reopens. See, please pay attention. Yeah, congratulations, Shiva Kumar. Payback period for machine A is equal to 3.406 years, means it would take for the company 3.406 years to recover the cost of machine A, which is 56,125 rupees. Very good, Shiv Kumar. Okay. So then we'll move on to say same calculation for machine B. So we'll begin here. So the first step is prepare the cumulative CFAT, cash flows after taxes, for machine B. So how I'm going to do that? 22,000, keep it as it is in year 1, 22,000 for machine B. So 22,000 plus 20,000 is equal to 42,000. 42,000 plus 18,000 is equal to 60,000. 60,000 plus 16,000 is equal to 76,000. 76,000 plus 17,000 is equal to 93,000. Okay. So that is how we prepare cumulative column for CFAT of machine B. Same process we are going to follow here also. Okay. So those who did not pay attention, this is your second chance. Please pay attention. So payback period for machine B. So payback period for machine B is between second and third year. Second and third year. Okay. So please pay attention. Cost of machine B is also 56,125 rupees. You should remember, huh? You should not keep forgetting. It's not a good sign. You are still young. Okay. Forgetfulness is a symptom of old age. So the payback period of machine B lies between second year and third year. Okay, because the cost of machine B is 56,125 rupees, of which 42,000 will be recovered in year 2, and the remaining balance will be recovered in year 3. Okay, so that is the reason why I have written here B. Okay, against 42,000 year 2 row, and B here against 60,000 year 3 row. Okay, so what is the CFAT in year 3?
18,000.
18,000 rupees. This also will require to find out the payback fraction. Okay. So for machine B, 1 minute, let me try if I can display both. Okay, not possible. I'll leave it. Okay. So the payback period of machine B is between second and third year. 42,000 will be recovered till second year and the remaining balance in third year. Okay. 42,000 rupees, and 42,000 rupees is recovered in year 2. Okay, so 56,125 cost of machine, 56,125 minus 42,000 is equal to 14,125 rupee balance will be recovered in third year. And I showed you CFAT in year 3 is 18,000. So how are we going to calculate the payback fraction? Payback fraction is equal to the balance amount 14,125 divided by the CFAT of year 3, that is 18,000. So payback fraction is 0.785. Simply add it to 2 years, you will get the payback period of machine B. So payback period for machine B is equal to 2 years plus 0.785. So payback period of machine B is 2.785 years. Payback period of machine B is 2.785 years. Okay. So any doubts?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay,
No,
that's
sir.
great. That's great. So this means that the initial investment of 56,125 rupees on machine B can be recovered in 2.785 years. Okay. And the initial cost of machine A, 56,125 rupee, can be recovered in the period of 3.406 years. You can remember, you need to remember both. Now we are going to learn the accept reject rule with respect to payback period. If you are considering payback period as an evaluation technique, then on what basis should accept or reject the project? So compare the actual payback period with the predetermined payback period. If the company has set any predetermined payback period, say for example 5 years, 7 years, 3 years, like this, predetermined by company, then compare the actual payback period. Actual payback period is what you have calculated. So compare the actual payback period with the predetermined payback period. If the actual payback period, the calculated one, if the actual payback period is less than the predetermined payback period, in that case, the project would be accepted. I repeat, if the actual payback period, the calculated one, if it is less than the predetermined payback period, the project should be accepted. And if the actual payback period is more than the predetermined payback period, reject the project. This is in case of single proposal. If there is only one proposal and you are planning to, you are deciding whether to invest or not to invest. In case of multiple projects or more than one projects, okay, even including mutual projects. In case of multiple projects or mutual projects, they can be ranked according to the length of, the projects can be ranked according to the length of payback period from shortest to longest. In case of multiple projects or mutual projects, okay, the projects can be ranked. Okay, the projects can be ranked according to payback period from shortest to longest. Okay, so anybody, which one we should select? The project with the shortest payback period or the project with the longest payback period?
Shortest, sir.
The shortest payback period.
Very good, very good. Shortest, very good, everyone. So the project with the shortest payback period or rank 1 would be selected. Okay, so in our case, machine B should be purchased. See how we made the decision. So in the above example, we should accept machine B, or the company should invest in machine B, because as its payback period is lower compared to project A or machine A. So as you can see here, the payback period of machine B is 2.785 years, which is lower than the payback period of machine A, 3.406 years. So hence the company should invest in machine B as its payback period is lower than machine A. So we made a decision here, or accept reject rule we applied and made a decision to invest in machine B. So at this point in time, I'd like to recall, see, I asked you a question in accounting rate of return. Though the total benefits from both machine A as well as machine B were same. Okay, so I asked you a question, which machine we should purchase? And Keshav replied machine B, because machine B, though the total benefits are same from machine A and machine B, but with respect to machine B, okay, the initial cash inflows were higher. The initial cash inflows were higher in year 1 and 2 compared to the initial cash inflows of machine A. That's why Keshav said the company should invest in machine B as it will be more profitable. It would help maximize shareholder wealth. So here also in payback period, dear students, it is proven once again that machine B is the right choice for company to invest. Okay, so remember, you cannot learn this subject in isolation. Right from chapter 1, page 1, whatever I have told you, theory or numerical, equation or facts, everything will come into picture here. Till the last chapter, you will remember this. Okay, so you read the reading material frequently, okay, and write all these sums, what I'm solving in online class in your fair notebook properly, okay, and also solve the practice problems. And wherever you have doubts, ask your friends. If they are able to clarify your doubts, very good, or else please feel free to call me to clarify your doubts. So is that okay with payback period?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, so if you have any small doubt, you can ask at this point in time. Okay, so I did not hear any doubt from student. So let me go ahead with a modified version of payback period. Modified version of payback period, which is called as discounted payback period. Okay, so payback period is a traditional technique which doesn't take into account the concept of time value of money. Okay, to make it usable, okay, to make it more practical, the element of time value of money is inserted into the technique of payback period. Hence, it becomes a discounted payback period, or it is called as a discounted payback period. Okay. Yeah. A major shortcoming or disadvantage of a conventional payback period, the one which we just learned, is called conventional payback period. The major shortcoming of conventional payback period is that, okay, it does not take into account the concept of time value of money. So to overcome this limitation, the discounted payback period is suggested. In this modified method, cash flows are first converted into their present values and then added to ascertain the period of time required to recover the initial outlay of the project. That's it. The cash inflows, okay, are first converted to their present value, and then we accumulate these present values. That's it. Okay. So I hope this concept is clear. Discounted payback period.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So we have an example here. a new example. This is a project requires 50,000 rupees. Okay, I would like you to pay attention, dear students. There is a new data, new information given in this example. A project requires 50,000 rupees as initial investment and has a life of 5 years, in which the cash inflows are as below. A company, okay, is planning to invest in a project which will require 50,000 rupees initial investment, and the life of this project is 5 years. Life means this: if the company invests in this project, the project is going to generate revenue for 5 years in future. And this cash stream of cash inflows are given here. For year 1, 10,000. For year 2, 15,000. For year 3, 25,000. For year 4, 20,000. And for year 5, 15,000 rupees. What is being asked? The discount rate is 10%. It is required for discounted payback period. Okay. 2 questions are asked. One, calculate the payback period. That is through conventional method. And also calculate the discounted payback period. Okay. So I hope the question is simple and easy to understand. So let me go ahead with calculation of payback period in a conventional way. Okay. So what I would do for years 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I will write the cash flows after taxes. Year 1, 10,000, year 2, 15,000, year 3, 25,000, year 4, 20,000, year 5, 15,000. And I'll prepare a cumulative column. Year 1 as it is 10,000. So year 2, 10,000 plus 15,000, 25,000, 25,000 plus 25,000, 50,000 in year 3, 50,000 plus 20,000, 70,000. Okay, and 70,000 plus 15,000, 85,000. So we have our cumulative column of CFAT, cash flows after taxes. Okay, now just for simplicity, because our focus is on discounted payback period, okay, the author has given this one a simple. Okay, so in which year the initial investment of 50,000 is recovered? Can anyone find out and tell? In which year 50,000 rupee will be recovered?
Third year.
Very
Third
good,
year.
Mr. Srikanth.
Third, sir.
Yes, Bharat.
Third year,
Okay,
sir.
very good, everyone. So see, the cumulative of CFAT in year 3 is exactly 50,000. So the corresponding year is 3. So therefore, the payback period is 3 years. Here you are saved from calculating the payback fraction. Okay. So here, I don't think there are any issues. So now, let's move to discounted payback period. Okay. So for which we will have 5 columns. Year 1, year column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. CFAT, please write as it is given in the problem. Year 1, 10,000. Year 2, 15,000. Year 3, 25,000. Year 4, 20,000. And year 5, 15,000 rupees. Now what we learned, since we are inserting the element of time value of money, okay, so we are going to use a discounting technique. So year 1 to be received after 1 year. Sorry, 10,000 rupees to be received after year 1. 15,000 rupee to be received after year 2. 25,000 rupee to be received after year 3. 20,000 rupees to be received after year 4. 15,000 rupees to be received in year 5. So all these cash inflows are in future. So what are we going to do? We are going to find out the present value of these each stream of cash inflow. I repeat, we are going to find out the present value of each stream of this cash inflow. So if you look at the amount at each year the amount is different: 10,000, 15,000, 25,000 and so on. So we are going to consider it as a case of a single cash flow. So we are going to convert the future value into present value. So we are going to consider discounted, okay, discounting techniques. And in discounting technique, this is the case of single cash flow. So hence it becomes present value of single cash flow. So for which we refer table A3. Table A3 is the present sum of 1 rupee. Okay. And the rate of interest given or discount rate given is 10%. So I'm going to refer table A3, 10% interest column, and find out the present value factors for year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and year 5. Okay. So let me share the time value tables. Okay, so dear students, can you see the time value tables?
Sir.
Yeah, thank you. Now this is table 1, A1. I'm going for table A3. Okay, so this is table A2. So this is table A3. So table A3, the present value of 1 rupee, 10% interest column for year 1. So somebody, Nagashri, can you read the present value factors? Not audible. Anybody else? Asra, yes, can you read?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, for year 1, present value factor is?
0.909.
Yeah, please go on reading. It should say for
Uh,
year
for
2
year-
like that. Huh.
For year 2, 0.826. For year 3, 0.751. For year 4, 0.683. For year 5, 0.621.
Yes, thank you, Asra. Thank you so much. Okay. So now we are going to bring these values into our table to find out the present value of future stream of cash inflows. Okay. So before I go ahead and calculate the present values, okay, so I need to break because it's almost 40 minutes. Please join back the meeting. I'll continue from here, this column.